Good evening, everybody. It's Sunday, September 29th, 2024. And already you could see the sails have no wind in them for the Montreal Canadiens this coming season. Patrik Laine gets injured in a preseason game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. The hatred towards Leafs land is very much apparent, and the Canadiens make some roster moves. All that coming up and more because it's time for Montreal Hockey Talk. Hey, hockey fans, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notifications bell because I am about to go on a rant of epic proportions. I know a lot of you out there, you're going to sit there and say, oh, well, I've heard this from other people. You haven't heard it from me. And until you hear what I have to say, things are going to be a little different once I come off on this episode of Montreal Hockey Talk. And of course, what is it? Another preseason, another useless injury, this time to superstar Patrik Laine. Everybody was sitting there wanting Patrik Laine to have a great season, a redemption story, a guy who comes back and puts the league on his back and the team on his back and wills the Montreal Canadiens to playoff contention. Well, Paré, thanks for nothing. Here's the replay, folks. If you're squirmers, please don't look. Laine cutting in across the blue line. Here comes Paré. And let me take your knee out, sir. See you later. You can see Laine on the ice there. The shot comes in. Everything freezes up for a moment. And then Laine is lying there in a heap, holding his left knee. It's not often you see a 6'5" guy on the ice in pain like that. And you know he's hurting. And just continue watching this replay. And you will see what Paré does. And everybody sits there and is trying to explain to me like, oh, yeah, this is a hockey play. This is, Laine was at fault because his leg was in the way. Laine shouldn't have this. Laine shouldn't have that. Keep watching, folks. Laine had his weight on his left leg. Paré was flat-footed. Here's the one that tells you everything. He got fooled. He leaned one way, then leaned the other, and took Laine's knee out. Now, that's not to say that Paré is a dirty player by any stretch. I don't think he is. But for fuck's sake, Toronto, here's where I'm going to get pissed off. And there's no doubt about this. I had a conversation on Twitter with a Jenny B from Toronto claiming that, it's a hockey play. Lady, if you put skates on and never played the game, you'd understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say Paré was flat. He got fooled. Laine leaned out, then in, and he had nowhere to go but to lean his entire body mass into Laine. And what does he do? He leans his knee out. You could see it clear as day that his knee goes crushing into the side, not the front, but the side of Laine's leg. And for all you Torontonians, that includes the guys at the Toronto Sports Network and anybody else that works for any one of the big media companies, you got to get your head out of your ass. Because I'm tired of this whole, it's a hockey play gone wrong. It's not. What this is the Toronto Maple Leafs icing a team that shouldn't even be on the same ice with the Montreal Canadiens roster. That was iced last night. But lo and behold, they're too slow to keep up with the guys like Caulfield and guys like Laine and Doc and name whoever you want to put out there as the top line forwards for the Montreal Canadiens. There's 6 of them. Take your pick. There's nobody other than Nick Thompson that should have been out there playing against these guys. Sorry. The only one. Is it Thompson? I can't even remember what the hell the guy's name is. Anyway, it's the guy that scored the 2 goals. I'm so pissed off I can't even remember anything. But at the end of all of this, the whole premise of this rant is the fact that it's fucking preseason. And you're putting schlubs out there and get top-line forwards. Would you want this to happen to you, Toronto? No. So the other night when Tavares got hit and got dinged up a little bit, were you saying the same thing? I absolutely fucking believe 1,000% that you did. But there was nowhere near as much malice and bad intention as there was in the Paré hit on Laine. And that's not to say, you're going to blame Laine for having his leg there. His leg never moved. His leg stayed on the ice. He was gliding in. He shifted his weight left or right. Thankfully, he didn't have his entire weight on his left leg, because otherwise we'd be talking about MCL, ACL, torn meniscus, the whole 9 yards, and a reconstruction of his knee. We still have yet to know exactly what the damage is. Best case scenario, it's a bone bruise. Worst case scenario, he's gone for the season. That's what a knee is. That's what a knee injury is all about. But I'm not going to sit here and cry about it, because there is blame to be put on the Toronto side. There's blame to be put on the Montreal side. And here's where I'm getting at. You have a plethora of players on the roster for preseason. You see ahead of time that Toronto is icing an AHL lineup. Where is the responsibility of the Montreal Canadiens to protect their own players? To say to themselves, you know what, maybe it's not a good idea to have Laine out there against these guys, or even a Caulfield, Suzuki, you name it, any one of the top six. You know, there are plenty of players that are trying to prove themselves right now on this roster, including somebody like an Oliver Kapanen. You know, there was Philip Meshar, Florian Jacki. The list goes on and on. You give them one last look, okay, against an AHL team, because that's essentially what these guys are. They're going to be all AHLers, okay? And what happens? You put your top six out there to see what they can do against a lineup that shouldn't even be on the ice, and you get an injury. And so there's blame to be laid on both sides. The majority of it obviously goes to Paré for being just a complete blithering idiot when it comes to playing defensively. Okay? You got fooled. Grin and bear it. Hook him. Grab him. Do whatever you want. Sticking your knee out? No. And there's not a single person on this planet outside of the 905 that that thinks that this is a Laine issue, or that was a clean hit. You can look at Jimmy Murphy's tweet. You can look at a number of different tweets from anywhere in the National Hockey League, and they will tell you point blank that it's a dirty hit. Now, personally, I don't think it is. I think it's a lack of ability on Paré's part, and he did whatever he could within his own way to be able to try to stop Laine. It's a bad situation, 1,000%. Do I think Paré's a dirty player? No. Did I think that he should have smiled during his post-game press conference when he was talking about the hit? Fuck no. You're a moron for doing that. But by the same token, the guy might have just been nervous. So put that aside. But at the end of the day here, the Montreal Canadiens may very well lose the players that they had counted on to be able to get them as close to the playoffs as possible. Will they? It remains to be seen. I don't know whether or not he's going to be out the entire season. We're going to find out more about that probably tomorrow night or maybe early Tuesday morning once the MRI takes place. And in talking about that, what happened to David Reinbacher, which is a replay I'm not going to show because obviously there was nothing to the play. He fell awkwardly. To me, it looks like he hurt his ankle, not his knee. What do I know? I'm not a doctor, but I played hockey for the better part of 30 years. Trust me, I think I know when I see a guy fall awkwardly. It looked like he jammed up his ankle and he got it caught along the boards. That's just me, okay? But just saying that, Reinbacher is going to be, another one that they're going to evaluate tomorrow. I mean, you wait for the swelling to go down, you have the MRI, and you see what the results are. I'm praying. Keep your fingers crossed, everybody, because at the end of the day, I don't want to see Patrik Laine gone for the entire season. Not just because of the value he brings to the Montreal Canadiens, but just because he's been through so much. In the last few years, whether it's his time in Winnipeg, the clusterfuck in Columbus, you name the whole situation. I think he deserves a little bit better than that, despite what a lot of people might think. Okay? I think he's a good human being. He comes off as a genuine character, a guy who's young at heart, who enjoys the game, and was really enjoying being in Montreal so far, despite the fact that it was a limited amount of time. You want to see good things happen to good people. That's not what just happened to Patrik Laine. And I'm sorry. If anybody in Toronto listens to this podcast and turns around and says that, you don't know what you're talking about, stop yourself. Okay? I've been involved with junior hockey for the past 15 years. I've been in minor hockey for 30. And I've played the game myself. I've had my own knee injury to contend with. Do I know what I'm talking about? Absolutely. I've had guys stick their knees out on me. I've managed to avoid it, luckily, thank God, because I've seen people like my own brother not avoid a knee. And the knee that my brother got was mine. And I took his knee out, and he needed reconstructive surgery. So do I know what I did wrong there? Yes. I know exactly what I did wrong. I came in for a hit, and I hit him right on the side of the leg the same way Paré did on Laine. Except I was closer to the boards in my case. So for anybody who wants to turn around and say that, you know what, you don't know what you're talking about, I know exactly what I'm fucking talking about. It's happened to me on a personal level, and I still hate myself for what I did to my brother. Okay, the man's 65 years old now, and he suffers from pain in his knees because he's had pins put in to keep his knees together. I feel guilty about it every day. And it happened to me when I was 15. I'm 52. I live with it every day. The guilt of what I did to my own brother. A guy who I literally looked up to my entire life. I even followed in his footsteps as far as my career was concerned. Okay, he was a great mentor to me. And what did I do? I destroyed his leg. That's the thanks I gave. Okay, so stop telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. It's not a personal hit here that, you know, what happened to Laine. But the fact that you guys are telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, that's personal. I know all too well what it means to take a knee or to give it. So do I know what Paré feels like? Yeah, he feels like shit. God knows the guy doesn't want to go out there and hurt Laine by any stretch because that's not, he wants to impress. That's not impressive. Okay, he wants to make a name for himself to be able to get into the National Hockey League. Something like that doesn't get you in the NHL. Something like that is a one-way ticket to the ECHL because you can't keep up. So that's not what Paré wanted. Okay, it reflects poorly on him defensively. All right? But, again, I'm not going to sit here and say to these people like Jenny B, or whatever the hell your name is, who had the wherewithal to call me a malaka, which, by the way, in Greek means jerk. I'm not a jerk, lady. Okay? I just know what I'm talking about. You haven't laced them up. I have. You haven't hurt somebody you love. I have. Physically. So don't do that. Don't ever do that. Because I will not stand for it. I'm not a guy that's going to go out there and shit on your opinion because everybody's opinion is valid. But the minute you make it personal like that and you talk about my own experiences and you call me a malaka, wait a minute. There's a limit to what I'm going to take online. You want to say my opinion's full of shit? Fine. Tell me I'm full of shit. Do not tell me my experience is wrong because it's not. Because I carry it with me every fucking day of my life. I actually hate people from Toronto when they do that. There are some people in Toronto that will turn around and objectively say, you know what, Costa, you're right. It was a lousy hit. It was a lousy situation. I don't think, like I said, Paré's dirty. I just think he got fooled and he reacted. And he reacted poorly. And that goes with what his skill set is. Right? So leave it at that. But as I mentioned, there's an onus of responsibility here that goes with the Montreal Canadiens. There's an onus of responsibility that goes with the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know, and do I think do I think Arbor Xhekaj did the right thing by going after Paré? Listen, you got to defend your teammate. Do I think that it was done right? No, because personally, I would have told the guys, listen, make it worth your while and do it slowly. Slowly punish this guy. Dump a puck in the corner. Let him know you're there. Dump another puck in the same corner. Let him know you're there. Dump a puck in with a two-man forecheck. Let them both know you're there. Then and only then do you, when at least expected, go into that corner, lay the hit, drop the gloves, and absolutely obliterate the guy. Steady decline. Steady punishment. That's the way it was done in the old days when somebody hurt your other team's player. You either did it on the spot and you grabbed them, or you made it a slow burn until he reacted and you didn't take an instigator penalty. That's how it was done. Do I agree with it? Yeah, absolutely. He deserved a beating, but he turtled. So that's why Xhekaj got 2-5-10 in a game. You know, he pulled the clothes on you for the older clan that knows exactly what I'm talking about. Now, let's stop talking about the injuries because I'm going to wait and see until tomorrow. And just one last thing about this whole Laine issue and the injury to him. These bots that are out there doing this, hello, welcome to Montreal Canadiens News. Let me talk to you about what happened to Patrik Laine. They can't even pronounce the fucking name right. Okay? Anybody who would go out there and put the news out online that he's gone for the season, it's not official yet. The Canadiens haven't said anything. Nobody in the news has said anything. None of the insiders have said anything. So you know what? It's bullshit. So don't make it up so that you can get clicks. Okay? Give us a break. Keep it civil. Let's see what happens. Maybe, just maybe, we get lucky. And, a lot of people said, well, yeah, they both left with knee braces on. Yeah, that's always precautionary, guys. It's like going into an ambulance after breaking your leg and they put a soft cast on. They do it to make sure you're immobilized so that you don't do any further damage to what might be a very severe injury. I've been hit on the side of the knee. I've had a knee bruise on that side. I've been lucky enough that I didn't tear the ACL. It was just a bone bruise. But to me, personally, he's going to be out minimum 4 to 6 weeks, if not the entire season. But anyway, we'll see tomorrow. Now, moving on. As I press the wrong button, give me a second while I fix this. Oopsie. Not even that. There we go. Go there. Let's bring that in. There you go. 27 players got sent down today to the Laval Rocket. Those players, among others. If you look at the list that's on screen right now, Charlie Savoie, who looked really good in the preseason for the Montreal Canadiens, you knew he was going to get, a cup of coffee up because he scored the other day and he played really, really well. That's great. You look at guys like, Tyler Witherspoon, Owen Beck, who, despite the fact that he played really well, I think he should have stayed, but, he is coming out of junior. He does need a little bit more experience, so put him there. Sean Farrell, we were expecting a little bit more from him, didn't get it. Same goes for Philip Meshar. Luke Tuck, Florian Jacki, those are all guys that I think are eventually going to make their way up to the Montreal Canadiens roster. But right now, as it stands, they're Laval Rocket guys. And nothing really, is surprising in that list. Everybody from Israel Mianskum to Jacob Novak to, Vincent Semigny, William Trudeau, the rest of the list goes on and on. Riley Kidney. Every one of those guys was expected to go down to Laval or up to Laval, depending on what perspective you're looking at it. It's north, I say up, you say down, whatever. But from that list of players, and I'll put it on screen again, just for you guys to look. Yesterday, the majority of the names that are on this list should have gotten the last look against that Leafs lineup. So that's what I'm talking about when I say the Canadiens have some responsibility in what happened to Patrik Laine. It's not all about what Paré did. It's about who you're putting your players out there to play against. And then adding to this, a couple of other guys that got put on waivers today were Luke Condana and Gignac. They both got put on waivers for the purpose of sending them down to Laval or up to Laval, as we said. And we can argue about if it's up or down later. But they're all guys that we all expected to go to the Laval Rocket and play significant roles with the Rocket this season. I think, guys like Philip Meshar are going to have outstanding seasons in the AHL, especially under the tutelage of Pascal Vincent, who's an excellent player development coach. And I think, he will be a good coach in the National Hockey League once he's given the right opportunity. But, as I said, there's no surprises in this list. And there's nothing much to talk about. Preseason starts for them on October 1st. In a couple of days, they will report to Laval and have a bunch of practices before they have their preseason games in the American Hockey League. But, we wish them nothing but the best of luck. It is what it is. Is there anything to be said? Sure. These guys are the future of this franchise. Doesn't matter who you look at. Okay? There are a bunch of players still to be cut because the decision on defense has not been made, whether or not it's going to be Logan Mailloux, whether it's going to be James Struble. That decision hasn't been made yet. But, there is a decision that's coming. And whether or not it's the one we want remains to be seen. A lot of it's going to hinge on the next preseason game against the Ottawa Senators, because the one person that I am looking forward to seeing in this next preseason game is, in fact, Oliver Kapanen, who, in my opinion, has been outstanding for the Montreal Canadiens in the preseason. He's been out there, he's contributed, he's brought points onto the table. And I think, if there is a significant injury to Patrik Laine, which it'll be at least a few weeks, okay, at bare minimum, I think he's a viable replacement for him on the right wing, despite the fact that Kapanen is a center. There are other options. And in fact, I think that Oliver Kapanen is really pushing hard to get Christian Dvorak's job, and then might push Jake Evans out of the lineup. Because Kapanen's been really good, and you can't miss him when he's on the ice. Do I think he should go to the American Hockey League? No, I think he's ready for the NHL here and now. And there's a lot of people out there that think exactly the same way I do. I mean, he's contributed. You see him out there when he's got the puck on his stick. He's making plays happen. He's becoming involved in every single offensive opportunity that he gets. So I don't see why Kapanen shouldn't remain with the Montreal Canadiens. In fact, in the first of the two exhibition games against the Ottawa Senators, and I think Kapanen should play both. I don't think it should be one or the other. He needs to play both to show them exactly what he can do against two different types of rosters, I would presume, from the Ottawa Senators. Now, what I'd like to see is for Kapanen to get a shot on the power play to see what he can bring to the table, because Laine got his chance, and he got injured, of course. And if Kapanen is going to be expected to replace Laine as far as his significance on the team, and I'm not saying, put him in there and let's get 30 goals from a guy that's new to the National Hockey League. That's not what I'm saying. But skill-wise, I think he's very much comparable to him. He's quite big. He's not a small player by any stretch. He's skillful. He's got a good shot, and he can see the ice very well, which are all things that, Patrik Laine can do. The one thing that Laine's got more than Oliver Kapanen is that professional level shot. So, do I expect Kapanen to score 30? No. 15 to 20 is great. If we can get 15 to 20 out of Kapanen, that'd be perfect. And I wouldn't expect anything more from him considering he's a rookie. But I think he can bring a lot to the table. He's shifty. He's got a good vision on the ice. You've seen it time and time again, and I'm sorry I can't find any real highlights to show you other than a couple of goals that he was part of. But when you look at him when he doesn't have the puck, when you look at him when he's skating around up the ice through the neutral zone and distributing, you see things that you would normally see from a veteran player. You see good puck distributions. You don't see giveaways. You see the puck going to the right areas, as a coach would say. And that's what you expect from a player. And that's what the Canadiens were getting from Kapanen. So would I like to see him get a longer look with the Montreal Canadiens? Yeah, absolutely. Don't send him down right away. Keep him up. Let him take Laine's roster spot for now until Laine is ready to come back. If it doesn't work out, you could send him down to the minors. I don't think he's waiver eligible. So, you can send him down to the American Hockey League if you have to, but give him a look. I think he's earned it. And I don't know what you guys think. Please put it in the comments. Throw it out there on Twitter, whether it's or X, whatever you want to call it, or on Instagram, or even on the YouTube channel, just whatever you want to do to get the message out to me, because I try to answer as much as I can when I can. But at the end of the day, the Montreal Canadiens have to look for a secondary option now to Patrik Laine. Is it Oliver Kapanen? It could be, because I like his skill set. I'd like to see him get a little bit more time with the Canadiens, especially to start the regular season now that Laine is on the shelf. I want to see him push Dvorak a little bit, because I think he was better at center than Dvorak was during the preseason. Despite the fact that Dvorak did score a very nice goal the other day, I think Kapanen has brought more to the table than Dvorak has. Dvorak is a very good, I would say, defensive-minded forward. But he's nowhere near the player he used to be offensively prior to his injury stretch in the last few years. So I'd like to see a little bit of a change there for the Canadiens. Where you're giving a younger guy a spot. Maybe it pushes Dvorak down to the fourth line. But if Kapanen doesn't play well, then you push Dvorak back up to the third, bring Kapanen down to the fourth, and give him limited minutes. There are options for you. So I want to see Kapanen get that shot. I also want to see, now that Reinbacher's no longer in the mix, I want to see what I called as far as chances go. I want to see Logan Mailloux remain with the team. He should be that number 4 or 6 right-handed defenseman, depending how you look at it, because he's played very well in the preseason as well. He's been solid. He's been, involved offensively. He's been good defensively. He hasn't made any real mistakes on the ice. So give the devil his due. At the end of the day, that's what we all want. We want to see the best lineup on the ice no matter what, whether it's young, old, sophomore, whatever the case. We want to see a competitive team on the ice finally. And I think we're right there, despite the injury to Laine. I think we're right there. So let's see what decisions are made. by Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon and Marty St. Louis, as far as, the personnel that is going to keep on the team. I think I know the way Marty thinks a little bit as far as his thinking towards how the game should be played. I have met him, and I have had these discussions with him before. So it would be nice to see the team look more young than old and look on the market for somebody, despite the fact that I've heard that they are looking on the market to see whether or not they could grab a free agent temporarily to replace any one of the players that might be gone long term. But I think look inside yourself. Don't go for a free agent right away. Yes, we have the cap space is there if Laine goes on LTIR. Yes, that's fine. But think about when he comes back from LTIR. Will you be able to absorb the cap space of the player that you've acquired? Probably not. Okay? If he's gone for the entire season, then fine. Gone for the entire season. Go out, look for a free agent. You're not going to find anybody comparable to Laine. So it would be a fine opportunity to be able to give a younger player a chance to really show you what he can do, a la Oliver Kapanen. But if you don't want to take that route, I don't know how many free agents are really out there that you could count on to be able to bring the type of offense that Laine does. So instead of going out there and getting a free agent, keep the money in-house, see what Oliver Kapanen can bring, and then go after a free agent. Don't put the cart before the horse. You have talent in this organization. Let the talent dictate the moves that you're going to make at this point. I don't think that you're calling this a rebuild anymore. I think now you're calling it what it is. It's a positioning, right? You're not going out there to start looking for number one picks, although a number one pick is great to get, but you're not going out there looking for high first-round picks now. What you're doing is you're looking to get your team in the mix for a playoff spot, which would put you in the 15 to 20 realm as far as as far as draft picks are concerned. So if you're looking to do that, then what you should be looking to do is give your younger players an opportunity to show you what the value is. So yeah, give the spot to Kapanen. Let him show you exactly what he brings to the table, and let him make the decision for you. After all, that's what you want as an organization, to let the players dictate which direction you go in. So let's wait until tomorrow, guys. Let's not jump the gun and say, you know what, Laine's done for the season. Oh, the world's coming to an end. The hell with it. Now, let's just wait and see. Let's bide our time. Let's keep our fingers crossed, say a prayer tonight, and let's see what tomorrow brings. And by the way, just so everybody knows, this show is late in being put up there because of the fact I've got a cold, and you can hear how nasally I am. So I've been trying to get into a position to be able to do this show without coughing or spitting or, having to blow my nose during the broadcast. So in sounding nasally, I apologize 1,000%. I'm really sorry, but I did my best. So have a good week, everybody. 2 more exhibition games left before the regular season starts. Let's see what happens with Patrik Laine. Let's see how the Canadiens fare against the Ottawa Senators in their back-to-back exhibition games. And we'll talk next Sunday prior to the beginning of the season. Bye, everybody.